let's talk Clippers, because Paul George is the biggest domino, right? And what his decision is going to be. What are his options, do you think, here?
Well, the two free agent options are Philadelphia and Orlando. Two teams that have had different levels of interest in Paul George over the last few months. You saw on ESPN,
Joel Embiid basically just asked him, "Well, do you want to get hitched? You check this box." You know what I mean?
I just love that. I love everything about Joel Embiid. He's one of the best guys to cover in the NBA. I think Paul George makes a ton of sense in Philadelphia.
Yeah,
you're probably going to have to offer him a 4-year max level contract to lure him away from the Clippers. But if I'm the 76ers, given my situation where Embiid, the clock's kind of ticking. He's 30, 31 years old. He's often injured. You're looking at a 2 or 3 year window max for Joel Embiid to be the best player on a championship team. Tyrese Maxey is just coming into the prime of his career. I wouldn't hesitate if I was the Sixers to offer Paul George that type of contract. I also wouldn't hesitate either if I was the Orlando Magic. The Orlando Magic have not succeeded in recent years at luring big-time free agents to Orlando. You watch the way the Magic played last season, especially in the playoffs against Cleveland. What are they missing? A scorer. They need a wing scorer. Paolo Banchero, very good player. Franz Wagner, very good player. They need help in the scoring department. Paul George could help them. And they're in one of these windows, Rich, where they have money to spend right now. But in a couple of years, when they got to pay Paolo, when they got to pay Franz, when they got to pay Jalen Suggs, all the guys that are young and inexpensive are about to be older and really expensive for that team. So the window for them to sign someone big is right now. So if I'm Orlando, I'm also looking at Paul George and I'm saying, you know what? It's a risk because he's probably going to be 35, 36 years old by the time the contract is out. But this is the kind of risk for us that's worth taking.
Well, what's his thoughts on staying put, though? Right?
I think all things being equal, he probably would want to be in LA. But it was interesting that when Kawhi Leonard signed his contract extension months ago, and then the Clippers said they want to bring back Paul George. Paul George said a lot of the same things. Nothing happened. We're in that window right now, Rich, where we saw contracts being announced, Malik Monk in Sacramento,
yes,
among others. We're in that window where the Clippers could extend Paul George.
They're the only ones who can actually do something right now.
It seems apparent to me and most of the teams I talk to across the NBA that Paul George is going to free agency. What happens there is anyone's guess, but it seems more likely than not right now that Paul George, come July 1st or what is it, end of June 30th, is going to be a free agent.
And then LeBron's free agency, right? I mean, Rich Paul already said he's not taking some sort of minimum discount to become the fourth horseman in Phoenix, So how does that play out for him?
My understanding is that the Lakers are willing to give LeBron whatever contract he wants. So whether it's an extension on top of the current deal or a brand new contract, I think he's going to be back in Los Angeles. But by going to free agency and opting out, he can get a 3-year deal worth a little north of $150 million. But he can also get a no trade clause with that deal, which, I don't know if LeBron necessarily needs, but there has been some chatter about trading LeBron in recent years as the Lakers have kind of deteriorated. By getting the no trade clause, he could have some power over them in that particular situation. So I have not heard anything to suggest that LeBron won't be back with the Lakers in some form or another.
And do you feel if Paul George goes to Philadelphia, that puts them on what footing with the Celtics? It just doesn't. It feels like that is the most aggressive maneuver they can make to get as close to Boston as possible.
I would agree.
But how? Like, I'm just wondering if while they're in their duck boats, they're just also just shaking off whatever moves could possibly be made here.
You saw last year with Denver where the Nuggets won a championship and there was optimism that they could run it back.
Yes,
but they did have some free agents, right? They had Bruce Brown that left. They had Jeff Green that left. And among the reasons Denver came up short this year is because their young players, Christian Brown, and the collection of younger guys that were on that roster just didn't match that same level of production that Denver got from their veterans last season. The Celtics don't have that problem. Like, everybody's under contract for next year. Sam Howell's got a team option. They'll either pick that up or give him a new deal. Their top 7, top 8 will be back with this team next season. So they're not worried about replacing some of the important role players on that team. Their confidence comes from this group that just went 16-3. And we could laugh and dismiss the whole, they didn't get to play the full strength Bucks, or they didn't play the full strength Knicks.
I don't believe
they
that.
didn't play the Timberwolves or the Nuggets. Who cares? They went 16-3. That is the best mark in the postseason of any Celtics team in the 78-year history of that franchise. That was impressive, and the Celtics believe they are well-positioned to do it again.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.